What's up, guys? I'm going to go through a complete Blender 2.6 tutorial on complete beginners. So we're going to go through all this information right here. It's probably going to be split up into a couple of episodes because of time restraints. But let's get at it. So for downloading Blender, you have to go to their website, blender.org. Click on the download Blender. And then, depending on your computer, you're either going to get a Windows 32 bits or a Windows 64 bits, or I guess you can do a Linux or Mac, whatever you have. I have a 64 bits, so I'll get that. Then you have to wait for your download to start. So I should get a pop-up, and then I would save it, but I already have it. So once you save it, then you have to run it, the installer, and then once you run all of that, you should get Blender. Once you're done with that, you should open up Blender. Blender's right here. This is 2.64. They have this picture of this guy because they have a short film, Tears of Steel, that they were working on that was introducing camera tracking, but I'll talk about that more later. So we're going to go through this information. Alright, so first off, you're going to have to know how to navigate through Blender. You're going to do this with your mouse wheel, shift, and a couple of numbers on your number pad. So, let's get back into Blender. Scroll out to zoom out, scroll in or up to zoom in. If you hold down your mouse button and drag, you will be able to rotate around your dot, which is the origin point. So just hold your middle mouse button down, which is your scroll wheel, just to rotate around. Next is the number pad. So if you have a full keyboard, on your total right, where you have all your numbers in an array, or like a rows and columns, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1 does a front perspective. 3 does a right. 7 does top. You're going to be using these a lot. And to switch from ortho, which is a different kind of way of viewing the object in perspective, press 5. Ortho makes everything flat, and I'll explain that more in detail later. Alright, so next up is the toolbar and this extra menu. So to access your toolbar, which is this thing right here, you're going to press T to close it and T to open it. It should be already opened. And for this extra menu on this side, press N to close it and to open it. Alright. Now, over here, this is your properties editor. I'm gonna expand this and close this extra menu. You have a bunch of these different tabs. I'm gonna quickly go through this. This is when you render this. This is what is gonna show up from your camera's perspective. And oh yeah, if you press 0 on your number pad, you will be looking through the camera's perspective. So if I were to press this, then it would render what I could see through the camera. Oh, and also to kind of strafe across, you hold down shift and you click down your middle mouse button, you kind of drag. Alright, next is the, let me select my cube. Select objects by right clicking, by the way, so I can select these, and left clicking just places this 3D cursor. But let me select my cube. Scene, this is what you do kind of when you're getting ready to render and stuff. This isn't as important. World, this is, you can, by changing these settings, you can kind of change this background of this stuff. The object, you can change the where it is by kind of sliding right here, or the name of it. So cube in lowercase, I guess. Constraints, these are a little advanced, but there's constraints to well, it's more advanced. Modifiers, there's a lot of kind of cool tools that you can do without modeling, so subdivision surface kind of makes everything a lot smoother. And so like I can just use this, but I'll get into this more later. So I'm gonna press this X to cancel it. Object data, this is just the object data. You'll go into more of that later. This is where you add and do different colors, so you can change your color here. And texturing, this is your textures tab. This is where you can add and remove textures. Particles, this tab you use mostly when you're in this tab. You kind of switch between these two. This is for physics, and there's different kind of physics kind of things that you can do. You can like make your object clothing. You can make smoke come through it from it. You can turn it into a fluid. There's a lot of cool things you can do with it, but you have to have a pretty good computer to do some of these things. And baking basically is just rendering it. Alright, now I'm going to go over the rest of the UI. Here is your timeline. If you were to add in keyframes, then certain objects would move around your screen, but this is basically for like animation. And then this is where you toggle from edit mode to object mode. So if you want to edit your cube, then you would go down here and click the tab, and you would click edit mode. Let's keep an object mode up here. This is where you do your file and you save, and your a lot of rendering stuff. And this is where you can add in more objects. So I'm going to just press X to delete that. Press OK. And then over here, this is like your different kind of modes. You have Blender Render, which is the default. This is what a lot of people use. Blender Game, this is a game kind of engine for that's like pre-made in Blender. And then Cycles Render, this is a really kind of clean, it takes a while to render though, kind of renderer. I'll explain it later, but it's made because people were complaining how harsh the lighting was, and Cycles Render kind of fixes that, but I'll get into that later, so I'm going to keep it on Blender Render. Alright, now I'm going to go through just simple commands to move around your objects and stuff. So, like I said before, right-clicking selects your object. If you hold down right-click, then you'll be able to move your object. You can also right-click an object and press G. That'll move it. Now I'm pressing right-click to cancel that. So if I press G and then I left-click, then it sets it to select multiple objects. So let's say I want to select this light and the cube. This, by the way, is a light. You click on one object, then you hold shift and you click on another. And so now I can move both these by pressing G. And then left click to set it. You can scale objects. So let's say I want to make this cube bigger. You can press S and it brings up this. And make this cube a lot bigger. Left click. I can also rotate. Rotating. This rotates from my perspective like only 180 or 360 round circle. But if I were to click rotate or R again, then I could do a free rotate. And then I can switch back. Gonna right click to cancel. Control Z, that undoes. Control Shift Z, that redos. H hides your object. Alt H unhides your object. F12, that is to render, so that currently if I press escape then I get out of that render. But if I press 0 on my number pad, I can pull up this camera, and I can select the camera by clicking on its edge. I can press G to move it, like I said, and then I can left click to set it. I can press G again to move it again into like this position, and then I can set it there and press F12 and I'll render that. And then escape to get out of that. And if you wanna get out of this, you can just move around with your mouse, like by holding the middle mouse button and moving. To select multiple objects a different way, you can do a box select. So you press B, and then you get this point, or this kind of cross. Then you click on the screen somewhere and you drag, and then you can select all objects. And to deselect, if you don't want to select anything, press A. If you want to select everything, you can press A. So let's say I'm selecting this cube only, I can press A to select nothing, and then press A to select everything. I hope that covers most of the stuff. If you are still having trouble on something, please leave a comment in the comment section below. Like and favorite, or do whatever, you don't have to like. And thanks for watching my video.